Guskov was originally going to be in a rematch of the draw he had against Jan Blachowicz, a fight that no one was asking for. And so now Jan Blachowicz is taking on Navajo Sterling, which is Navajo Sterling taking a massive step up in competition a couple of months after smashing Ion Cutelaba. Less than 2 months, actually. So it's moved a lot of stuff around. Well, no, just a couple of things, but it's intriguing. I think I would be way more interested in Khalil versus Ankalaev than this one, because watching Guskov's career, he's got a lot of hype, but I think it's because people enjoy him and they like the Anthony Smith meme. I don't think anyone thinks this guy is actually looking like a world beater. Now, granted, he got a draw off Jan Blachowicz, but I feel like at this point, Jan Blachowicz could get a draw from a broom. And that fight was so strange because it was a dominant middle round, basically because Guskov caught him with one really good punch and then just stayed on top and hit him a few times from top. Whereas rounds 1 and 3 were just Jan Blachowicz basically landing at will. And this is the thing about Guskov. He's like a boxer in the, if you picked him on UFC, EA UFC 6, he's probably got boxer by his name as his style. But really just useless jab. He tries to use it, fair play to him, but it does nothing for him. He lands when he squares himself, when he drops his hand, squares himself up, and starts getting heavy on his lead leg and throwing right-hand leads, which are supposed to be, as Norman Mailer said, a tremendous insult to a professional fighter. But you don't see him an awful lot. You see him more in MMA than you do in boxing. You don't see him an awful lot. And if the guy's really fast, it's a powerful punch that he's just slinging a fastball at your head. Fedor Emelianenko obviously was brilliant with the right-hand lead. Came out in his fight with Big Nog, the first one, and he just shoots a right-hand lead off the bat, domes Big Nog, and rolls into a takedown off it. But the trick was that Fedor had other stuff. He could jab, he could hook, he could kickbox admirably. Always had a great low kick. Even used the oblique kick back in the day, did old Fedor. But Guskov has fuck all else. He has a weird sort of back step that he does to get away from people and then jumps at them with his right hand or his left hand. He popped Jan off that a few times. But like his defense is pivoting around his lead leg and he only circles one way around the cage. So Jan Blachowicz would fake a jab and then step and follow him and hit him with a second jab. And it happened like a dozen times in that fight. And of course, the low kick is something that everyone has found success with against Guskov because he is standing so long and he pivots around that lead leg and circles constantly around you in one direction where you can just pound his lead leg. So everyone from Ryan Spann to Volkan Oezdemir to Jan Blachowicz basically landed 100% of low kicks and never faced repercussions for it. I didn't watch the Krylov fight. Krylov is a big slow kicker, so he might have got domed off that low kick. But the other ones I watched, Pauga, Spann, Blachowicz, Oezdemir, they all had fun with that low kick. Oezdemir, I thought, made fantastic reads on him. You know, he could have watched all these fights through the regional series where I think Conor Rubish said he just fought bums, and he really did just fight bums on the regional scene. But they watched him and they said, yeah, he does the right-hand lead a lot, and he stands in a long stance. And if you watch that Oezdemir fight, if I told you those two pieces of information, Oezdemir just played his whole game plan to that. Low kick, low kick, low kick, jab, jab, low kick. When the right hand comes, slip to the left, come back with a left hook. He does that twice in succession to stun Guskov and then finishes him on the ground. And that's the danger of the right hand lead. Like, it's quite, if you know it's coming, even if it's really fast, you can be in position to counter it. So slip to the elbow side and come back with a left hook is a brilliant counter. Oezdemir pulled that off wonderfully, but you won't see that a lot in MMA. Shoulder roll in boxing, but in our non-boxing sport, high left forearm or elbow, crazy monkey style, take it on the guard, come back with the right hand, or slip to the outside and throw the right hand at the same time. Like, there's 100 ways to counter a right hand lead. The trick is that it's slower and more obvious than a jab, because he's going to square his shoulders and lean heavy on his lead foot, which he does every single time. Now, he does have great hand speed. Great hand speed, shit boxing. That's his gift and his curse. So I'm kind of intrigued by this because Big Ank is a southpaw doesn't engage in a whole heap of hand fighting. He did a bit of it against Pereira effectively, but mostly he likes to let his opponent use their hands freely because he wants them to shoot the right hand, and then he dips his head off to the left and cracks them with a long whippy right hook. And he can use that to come back in with the left hand. You know, if you whip them with the right hook, you can throw your left hand at where your right hand's just felt they are. If you watch his fights with Ion Cutelaba, he's just like circling around towards, or not towards, but to that side of Cutelaba's body to draw that right hand, but always sort of spiraling away and being like, come on, throw it. Oh, here's the right hook. Same with like Clids and Abreu. God, that was so many fights ago. This guy's been around forever and had about 3 memorable fights. So yeah, there's a lot, and this is the other thing. Like Ankalaev can wrestle. Ankalaev's a good kicker. Ankalaev, for as boring as people claim he is, I mean, he's got a lot of knockouts, but for as boring as people claim he is, partly because he's got a very bland personality, but he can do quite a bit. It's annoying that like he's billed as a wrestler and he doesn't really go to it that much, and when he does, he gets tired doing it. But he's a decent kicker and he's a good boxer, and Bogdan Guskov is he's none of those things. He's got a very fast right hand. So tons of potential for an upset here, because like I don't want to discount what Guskov has. It's dangerous and it's a bit weird. But when you're throwing right hand leads against orthodox fighters who are trying to time your jab and waiting on your jab and it's not there, that's unusual. When you're throwing right hand leads against southpaws, when in MMA all we do is southpaw 101, slap the lead hand down and throw the rear hand, you're just like giving Ankalaev what he's been looking at his entire career. Maybe you are so much faster than all the people that he's fought that it's going to be unusual for him. But this would be the time. If Guskov has anything else, this would be the time to bring it out.